G'day guys, kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildcard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, Crusaders versus Highlanders, the battle for South Island supremacy. Yeah, the Crusaders got the win back after losing round 1 by 2 points to the Highlanders in Dunedin. This was a pretty convincing win. And I think if you're a Highlander fan, this is a pretty disappointing, very disappointing performances for a number of reasons, right? First off, the Crusaders' performance in recent times has been pretty volatile, like probably more volatile than the oil prices, right? 1 week they're losing historic record loss to the Brumbies, only to come in next week to beat the Chiefs and then losing to the Blues again, like like embarrassing fashion, and then to come into this game, nobody really knows what Crusaders team is going to show up. To be fair, the Crusaders shot themselves in the foot plenty of times in this game. 3 yellow cards. 3 yellow cards against the Crusaders. So Highlanders only had to play against 14 players for 30 minutes, almost half the match, and still was not to get anywhere near that looked like they were going to win the match. Yeah, so I thought I was just a little bit poorly managed. Some of the, again, penalty kicks, like, usually, I don't know how many times we've seen this. Usually the team takes an early penalty goal in the second half, early in the second half, ends up losing the game badly because the players is already thinking about holding on to the whatever points, whatever lead they had for the remainder of the game. They're already thinking about this is good enough when there is still 30, 25 minutes left on the clock, and that's just mentally not in the right place to win the match. And we've seen this in so many games, in so many different teams all around the world. And somehow, yeah, the Highlanders seems to be one of the teams the most guilty of this. I've seen this way too many times out of the Highlanders for me to, yeah, I think if you're a Highlander fan, you can tell me how you feel about that. On the other hand, the Crusaders, despite giving away 3 yellow cards, they really held together. They pushed for the tries. They backed themselves. They, unlike in previous weeks where I felt like they lacked a bit of leadership from someone like Scotty Barrett to rally the players together, I thought a number of key players stood up from the Crusaders. Blackadder really stepped up as a huge defensive leader in that back line. In the back line, not the back line, in the defensive line, but in the back line, Will Jordan stepped up as like a real threat. He's able to identify the space in front of him and put himself through space and set up his teammates around him as well. Just massive all around the field. I think these two are the biggest ones on the field that really contributed to the performance that we saw out of the Crusaders, despite playing 14 players for 30 minutes. Havili hurt himself early as well, so the actual captain was out early, and the Crusaders really had to rely on some of these other players to step up to fill the shoes, and they did, and I thought it was really impressive and a pretty dominant win despite the yellow cards and the early injury to the captain. And if you're a Highlander fan, you look like you were leading early in the second half, and you really just look like, yeah, I think mentally you look like everybody thought that was enough. Strategically, there was a lot of sideways going, just running all around the place. And when things got a little bit, when things got a little bit tight, it looks like the Highlanders just start trying to rush things, and end up just not really able to, end up hurting themselves, dropping the ball, and not really able to get anything out of it other than forcing mistakes on themselves a little bit there. Tava Nawai was just huge, right? Like you can tell that he's putting in a lot of effort, but it wasn't enough to rally the players around him. And there was a guy, the winger, what's his name? Tangi Tao. He was really excellent every game, and I think that the Highlanders needs to figure out a way to really create better space for him, because for a number of weeks now, he's probably the most threatening player on the field for the Highlanders, and every time I see the back line for the Highlanders, everybody's just drifting sideways. So by the time the ball actually get to Tangi Tao, he's on like no space. And he just ends up, either trying to try to, tiptoe himself near the try line and get through there, or try to he's forward he's left with no choice but to try to cut back in field and try to find an offload inside of him. I do think that the Highlanders need to rethink about how to utilize Tangi Tao, who's such a huge weapon, huge threat, a little bit better, because a lot of players around him are not doing him any favors, but actually taking away space from him. And yeah, that's just my feel for that. Let me know your thoughts there. In terms of how you think that the Highlanders could turn around. I do think that Scrum was a quite interesting battle to see, like this, just all Blacks front rowers head to head against each other. Yeah, it was a lot of mind games, a lot of physicality, and a lot of teammates going against each other. Ethan de Groot and Fletcher Neal definitely trained a lot in the All Blacks camp, and I can't really say that either teams had a definite advantage. A bit of 50-50 calls both ways, and yeah, it's an interesting battle to say the least. Outside of all that, yeah, it was a beautiful day, lots of turnout, Guns N' Roses playing for the Crusaders. Quite a great day to be out watching some rugby, to say say the least. And yeah, it was pretty good turnout for this match as well. So yeah, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. Let me know your thoughts about where you think the Highlanders can improve. But yeah, let's go through some of the stats and see how the teams match out on the spreadsheet, right? 4 tries to 2 for the Crusaders, 378 run meters to the Highlanders, 424. So the Highlanders have more run meters, more opportunities, 122 carries and 110 for the Crusaders. So they even had better carry per meters, but not able to get points on the board. Why? Because they try to rush things and then start making mistakes. And also just going sideways, not actually creating space for their most dangerous man, that is out wide, right? That's how I think the stats, is indicating as well. Defenders been 32 for the Highlanders, 24 for the Crusaders, and still scored way fewer points there. 15 turnovers conceded for the Highlanders, 19 turnovers against Crusaders. So even that's not good stuff. The Crusaders turned over more balls as well. 61 tackles, 161 tackles made for the Crusaders, 32 missed tackles, 116 tackles made for the Highlanders, 24 missed tackles. Slightly better completion rate. I'm pretty similar. A bit wonky on the mats there. Pretty similar in terms of completion rate. Kicks in play, 23 kicks for the Crusaders, 18 for the Highlanders. So not really wanting to play that kicking game at all. 1 conversion missed and 100% penalty kicks for the Highlanders. 1 conversion missed out of 4. And 1 penalty goal for the Crusaders. 483 kick meters from hand, 446 kick meters from Highlanders. So pretty low in terms of kick meters. Sometimes this New Zealand team gets 1,000 and neither teams wants to play the kicking game, which is quite interesting to see. 10 lineouts for the Crusaders, no lost. 14 lineouts for the Highlanders, 4 lost. Yeah, definitely not quite cleaning up there. 5 scrums for the Crusaders, 1 loss there. 8 for the Highlanders, no lost whatsoever. Penalties conceded, Crusaders, I'm surprised they only considered 12 penalties. 12 penalties conceded, 3 yellow cards against the Crusaders. Highlanders only conceded 7 penalties. Yeah, when you hold on to the ball and you don't give away the opposition, it's much easier to get those penalties for yourselves than actually conceding penalties against you. So the 3 yellow cards given away, I think there was first one was against Cody Taylor for a cynical play near the repeated penalties. I think it was in front of the try line. There was a clean out like on a dead rock where one of the players hit one of the Crusaders players hit one of the Highlanders. I think it was Lava Lini, whatever his name is, the Argentinian national, Thomas Lavalini, and then so he was like a clean out that hit the player in the head, and then just unnecessarily needed to do that. And obviously the referee staff watched the Lions tour and learned that, learned the right call. But it was just, what's his name? Yeah, Brewers. Is it Brewers? For a bit of a unnecessary hit in the back of the head in the clean out. And then The final yellow card was Fihaki in a tackle, just a high head on shoulder on Miller Mills. Miller Mills looked like he was really hurt. I thought this could have been a red card, but the referee said there was a dip in changing dynamic. It looked pretty bad, and yeah, just the yellow for Fihaki, and again 3 yellow cards, 30 minutes, 1 man missing, and Crusaders somehow scored more points with 14 players than the Highlanders could with 15. Yeah. Anyway, let's do a quick summary of the points. It took only 3 minutes for the Crusaders to get a try on the board. The ball went out wide to Will Jordan, who was at around the 13 channel. He just straightened up from the drift attack, just a bit of a right full step straight through a gap, and then yeah, a few defenders got wiggled through, and then went in for the try. 5-0 for the Crusaders. Yellow card, 15 minutes in, the Highlanders put some pressure on right in front of the try line. Cody Taylor got sent off with 14 players in the bin. The Highlanders had a scrum short on penalty. They're taking a quick tap. There was a really long pass out wide to Tangi Tau, and then he ran down the sideline, and then he passed the ball inside to Telea, who went in for the try. 5-5 for both teams. 27 minutes in the game. Is this correct? 4 tries to 2. Oh yeah, that's right. So after this try, so 5 points apiece. 27 minutes in the ball. The Highlanders gets another try on the board. So there was a nice little flat ball pass to Tava Nawai, who ran through a gap from Miller Mills. The pass from Miller Mills, and then yeah, Tava Nawai linked up with Nipkins, Rata Maivuki Nipkins, who ran in for the second try for the Highlanders. 12-5. After this, Havili was hurt, taken off the field. I thought, Crusaders looking like down and out, with Havili out. 31 minutes, there was a penalty to the Crusaders. They did a tap and go. They got pretty close to the try line, and then lots of pick and go. Eventually, it was crashed under the post by Fletcher Newell. 12-12. 31 minutes on the clock. 35 minutes of the game, there was a penalty, and Highlanders said, yeah, we'll take the 3. Kicked that one, 12-15. And then just before halftime, there was a yellow card to Brewers against the Crusaders. Another player in the bin going into halftime. 45 minutes coming out. I'm pretty sure Highlanders still had a yellow card advantage here with the Brewers still in the bin. Highlanders kick 3. 13 points and 18. And from here on, I was like, might be the end. And sure enough, 49 minutes, the Crusaders, despite having, I think they got a player back now, they had a penalty. They went for the line out, had a more. The Lee peeled off at the back the more, and then they passed the ball to Blackadder, and Blackadder ran through the gap, passed back to Lee, and Lee ran in for the try. 19-18. 56 minutes in, the Crusaders had another penalty. They went for the more and got another more try. 26-18. 59 minutes, Fihaki got sent off for a yellow card, shoulder to head on Miller Mills. 62 minutes, there was a scrum. 68 minutes, the what happened here? Oh yeah, 68 minutes, the Crusaders actually look a little bit lost in their attacking structure. The ball was just like passed around between people, and no one was going forward. And eventually, it was just like nonchalantly passed to Will Jordan. He just stepped through 2 players and then passed to his inside and linked up with, I think it was who was it? Might be, who was it? He passed inside, linked up with someone else, went in for the try, but there was no try because one of the players was holding, one of the Crusader players was holding onto a Highlander player in the defensive line in the ruck. So that's where the gap was created. So no try. But the Crusaders did opt to take 3 as here to just extend their lead to 29 points to 18. And that is that. That is the last 3 points were scored. The Highlanders tried to fight back, just going sideways, and then no one was able to actually create space for somebody else. And then, yeah, wasn't able to get there in the end. And pretty convincing win for the Crusaders, in my opinion, especially that second half. And Highlanders can't blame anybody else except for themselves. Had 30 minutes playing against 14 players, and how many points did they even score whilst playing against 13? I think they scored one try in the first half when Cody Taylor was in the bin, and that's it, right? In fact, yeah, that's it. They only scored 5 points against the Crusaders, whilst the Crusaders had a play in the bin. Yeah, so that's just not good enough, especially if you have such a huge advantage. Just gotta, I don't know. Yeah, just really not good enough to be really frank with you. There's space out there, and you just have to figure out a way to get there. So yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Six Nation reviews. Cheers.